I remember having a conversation with a friend a number of years ago, and we were discussing just how it is said about authors that they really only have one story, and about directors that really only have one movie. So it might also be said about priests and preachers that they really have only one homily or one sermon, that everything is just a variation. You change the examples, you change the stories, you change the characters, but underlying it is basically the same theme. Now, this friend was also a co-worker in the parish. So, like you, he had to endure the misery of listening to me on practically a daily basis. And so then he asked me, so what would you say is your theme? That God hates us? And I was deeply wounded. Is that how I come across in my daily homilies, with maybe perhaps a bit of a stern message? So with this wounded heart, I went home to seek some consolation from my parents. And so I shared with this conversation that I had. And my mom said, well, I listen to your homilies and I come away and I don't really feel a deep sense of comfort. So in some ways, perhaps she was agreeing with this friend. Of course, I wanted to respond to her that perhaps if I had received more love as a child, I wouldn't come across as so hard and cold now. But our first reading today, in some ways, I believe, justifies this approach. What we hear is an admonishment, a challenge to the church in Ephesus, which is one of the 7 churches that we will read about in this book. And it comes from what is commonly called the book of Revelation. But Revelation is just a kind of a loose translation of the name in Greek, which is apocalypse. Apocalypse literally means an unveiling, like we would witness at a wedding. Now, we might think, well, who is it or what is it that's being unveiled, that's being revealed? Well, maybe it is the very presence of God, as we see through the events that are described, through the angels that speak, through John the evangelist who is writing. Maybe it is that it is God who is revealing himself to his people. But as I was reminded celebrating a wedding on Saturday, and as you may remember from your own weddings or other weddings that you have participated in, who is it that is being unveiled? Now, any father, a good father, knows that their children are capable of much more than they are living up to. While a father is pleased, they are never satisfied. They are always going to challenge, always going to admonish their children to become more than what they are, knowing that their potential is much greater than what they are living out. This comes not from a place of hatred, but from a place of love. It doesn't come because you are bad or that you are utterly depraved. If that were the truth, then there would be no reason to admonish, no reason to challenge. It would just be a frustrated and fruitless endeavor. These challenges, these admonishments come because you are good, and because a good father knows that you could be gooder, right? That you could be better, that you have more potential to fulfill. And so who is being revealed? Who is it that is being unveiled? It is not him, but us. Christ is revealing us to ourselves. And just like a bridegroom on the day of his wedding, he wants to pull off that veil with such eagerness, with such desire, so that we can see, as he sees, the beauty and the splendor that lies within. Please stand.